But then when you start to feel the pressure of running out of work, and then all the people that you hire that are relying on you in order to pay their bills, their car payment, their mortgage, their kids' sports, whatever, when you start to feel the pressure of not having enough work on them, just know who's to blame.
Welcome back to the Off the Tools podcast with your hosts, Joshua Grutenbohr and Jimmy Hongs. We got a special one today. So we're going to be doing a little deep dive into Josh's business, his painting business from when he was running it for several years there. So
Heck yeah.
let's do this. Yeah, why don't we get started in terms of like, how did you start your painting business?
How did I start? Well, I had a friend begging me for years to get involved with this franchise. And I'd say, no, 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 no. At every turn, he'd say, come on, like, you make good money. Like, you're going to go through so much personal development. And I go, I don't really care about money, dude. Like, it's all good.
Lies.
And then I know, right? Well, the only reason I didn't care about money is because I never had it. How can you care about something you've never had?
Makes sense.
Um, So eventually I said, yeah, like whatever. And he pulled me in by saying like, dude, like you could just end up running like a $40,000 business and you'd end up making more than you would at what you're doing right then. And I was like, yeah, okay. So I guess I'll just come in. I'll run a $40,000 business. I didn't end up running a $40,000 business. It was, my first year was around $100,000. But yeah, I honestly slipped and falled on running a painting company.
Fair enough. It's so funny because it's like a real life foot in the door type of situation. Hey, just come in and run a small business,
I know.
and just try it, and here you are.
I
uh,
know.
yeah, fair enough, man. In terms of like when you started, what were some of your, I guess, early challenges? Maybe specifically around like lead flow, letting go, because the whole point and premise of running your business wasn't to be stuck on the tools. It's called off the tools here.
It is called off the tools after all. Biggest challenges, I mean, first of all, I've never had to work this hard before ever in my life. And for that matter, not having to work that hard before, I didn't know how to even work hard. So like learning how to work hard was, I mean, a huge learning curve, because I wasn't even sure like what that looked like and what that felt like. And then like on top of that, I mean, once you go into business for yourself, there are just so many challenges that come up and so many skill sets, especially as an entrepreneur, right? The person that ends up doing everything at the start, all the marketing, all of the sales, all of the fulfillment. And it's like, okay, well, now I need to learn all of these skill sets. So, I mean, we use this phrase a lot here, Jimmy, right now, but it definitely was the drinking out of the fire hose. That's what it felt like, right? Because it's just like I have to learn everything. Now, luckily, it was a franchise model, so there was a lot of systems and procedures in place already. And in hindsight, I'm so blessed, but didn't realize, of course, at the time, how much of the way was already paved for me. But I definitely say like learning to work hard, learning to be consistent, and just sourcing work in general. It just felt like I was a little lost. Obviously, we were taught in the franchise model, it's like knock on doors, knock on doors, knock on doors. But it's like, hey, I don't wanna, And like, here's the thing, I still did, of course, and we've talked about this before, but I was like, there's gotta be another way. And I mean, lo and behold, that's kind of how we got here.
Nice, man. Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. Especially like when you never had to work hard, you don't know where that ceiling is, right? So when you
Mm-hmm.
push yourself even further, then you can see kind of what you're capable of. So that's awesome to hear, man. Let's start with marketing because, like you said, it becomes what I guess like when did marketing kind of become a priority on top of just knocking doors? Because, like you said, not everybody likes to do it, but it does work, right? It works really well. In terms of trying to find other ways of marketing, when did that become a priority for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've always been the type of guy to just try and work as smart as possible. And that's what I attributed everything that I've had any success with up until then too. It's just like I always work smart. But there wasn't the work hard. It was just work smart.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what we actually ended up doing, because I started the business during that first year of COVID, and then you combine the we're supposed to be knocking on doors the whole time with people like, yo, you have the literal plague. Please get off my doorstep. It was like, it was one that I really didn't want to knock on the doors, but it was two that was like, should I even be knocking on these doors? Right. Even though, we were being told to keep on doing it, blah, blah, blah. I get the cops calling me. Cops say it's okay, but I'm like, do I feel good morally about this? So first, like, thing that we put in place is we hired some painters in the preseason. We only start producing the work come around early May. So I had these people hired in around February. So I called these people and I go, hey guys, I know we're not starting work for, a couple months here, but would you be interested in potentially doing like some marketing efforts with me? And we can try and, get some work there, and I'll pay you nicely. So what we ended up doing is we would get in a Zoom call and we would go to the yellow pages and I would just direct them to, okay, buddy goes on this yellow page and then other buddy goes on this yellow page. And I just want you to call down the list. And then I want you to unmute yourself when either somebody freaks out because it's hilarious, or B, when you get an estimate scheduled. I'd pay them both hourly and a commission on top if they were scheduling the estimates. And I'd say like we probably booked like $40,000 worth of work just from that. But that was just a case of, man, I know I needed more leads, but it's like COVID just hit.
Mm-hmm.
How do we navigate this? And then eventually we got into like, the Facebook ads during that as well, which obviously really helped. I mean, I probably only did $10,000 from like door knocking that year, but between it all, that's how we kind of reached that 6 figures the first year.
Nice. So what I'm hearing is you had multiple different ways of marketing. You got your door to door in the craziest time. We were in a pandemic. Like that was a crazy 2020 to run a business, and so you got that. You also had pretty much just cold calling from the yellow pages, right, from the phone book. And you also moved into Facebook. But not only that, but you were also doing it with a team, right? You weren't just doing it yourself. You were helping leverage so that you could also have multiple people. So that's awesome. In terms of Facebook, I know obviously that came in a bit later. Like, how did that go in terms of introducing that into your business?
Jimmy, I wish I was born about 20 years earlier, because even looking at my business at that time, I guess pandemic hit in around 2020.
Yeah.
And I could just boost posts and get leads at that time. Absolutely insane. If you were to do that today, if you get really lucky, it might work for you. There's a potential. But nowadays, you have to have a good campaign. You got to have a good creative. You have to have good targeting. You can't just get away with what you got away with back in 2020. And I also say the whole, 20 years ago because of the whole housing market thing, but that's neither here nor there. What was your question, Jimmy? You want to know about Facebook ads?
In terms of Facebook ads, like how did it go, and especially introducing it first off during the COVID era?
It's so easy. It's the easiest thing on the planet. Whenever we're even like talking to our clients now, the phrase I always use to them, because it's so true, is it's like Facebook ads and Google ads are the only marketing mechanisms that has scaling baked into the mechanism itself, which is a great way of saying, if you have $1,000 in ad spend and you're getting 30 leads per month, what do you need to do if you want 60 leads per month? You probably just need to go to $2,000 in ad spend. You just need to double the ad spend. Now, is there a point of diminishing returns? Sure, maybe around that, 6, 7K, maybe more, depending on your market. But it's like, for people that are doing under $1 million a year, you could be doing 3, 4K ad spend a month. And if you want to double your leads, guess what you got to do? Just double the ad spend. But it doesn't quite work that way when we're talking about like lawn signs, door hangers, billboards, because now you're getting location factored into it. It's like, okay, maybe my lawn signs did way better in the West End than they did on the East End, but it's not trackable. And for whatever reason, maybe I got 1.2x the amount of leads that I got from my lawn signs after I put them up, but I doubled the amount of lawn signs. What's up with that? But it just doesn't work that way when it comes to online advertising, which is why it's the paramount mechanism when it comes to advertising for your service-based business.
Nice, man. I totally agree. If it's not trackable, it's not scalable, right? Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's not, if you can't scale it like that, then you're kind of stuck with question marks. Just like, oh, what do
Mm-hmm.
I do now? Like, doubling doesn't mean double the results. Like, what? Okay, that doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
But you also mentioned something interesting around like boosted posts back then. Now it's like a little different. So, I guess like same thing. Like, what's the big difference around boosted posts and why they're not as effective as something like maybe the video style or lead magnets?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it all has to do with the delivery of it because when you boost a post on Facebook, Facebook is going to do what thinks to be its job, and it's going to find really cheap areas to traffic, like, I don't know, on the marketplace and maybe the explore home and places like that, places where people don't really spend a lot of time and are not clicking on sponsored ads often. So you're going to boost a post. It's going to go to all of these really cheap traffic, and it's cheap traffic because nobody wants to be there. You're going to get to those places and it's not going to convert at all. And you might have been able to do that a while ago because when you used to boost a post, it would still send to the news feed or it would still send to the stories or whatever. But now, as the news feed gets more saturated, when more people just put the placements there, they're going to go, oh, we have all this space left to put your ad. Don't worry. We'll find a nice little home for it. There you go. Now you're in Messenger DMs and nobody's clicking you ever.
Wow. Yeah, fair enough. And I guess to add on top, for those listening that want to do like Facebook ads, like what do they typically need to see in terms of their Facebook pages? Like, for example, there's like new pages, nothing on
Mm-hmm.
there and stuff. Like, how would you, if you had to restart a new Facebook page today, what would you, what would be the most priority things to actually take care of on that Facebook page to run efficient ads on there? If you had to restart your painting business.
I think if you just want to boil down like the real basics on what you need, just when like you go into a home that's like for sale or whatever, and it doesn't actually look like somebody lives there,
Mm-hmm.
make the home look like somebody lives there. You know what I mean? Slap some reviews up there, slap some content up there, make it look like somebody's in that home. Because when it just looks like you just moved in yesterday, everything's tucked away perfectly, whatever, then it's like, this is weird. This doesn't feel right.
That is a fire analogy. That is an
That is a fire
absolute
analogy.
amazing analogy because there's a reason why there's home stagers, right? Why they're
Mm-hmm.
just everywhere, and houses go up by a certain percentage if you stage it because they can see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, even like when I look at a page, it's like, well, even a company, the first thing I check is like, okay, reviews, right? Are these
Mm-hmm.
people trustworthy? Where do I go? I check the reviews. How many 5 stars? And then on top of that, maybe you have some reviews, but just haven't seen any pictures or anything about
Sure.
the back like stuff of running the business. It's like now I still have my doubts, right? How can you kill that doubt? By all means, like you said, right?
It's like having some couches, in the living room, but there's no pictures up. It's like you're just missing part of the whole thing.
Totally. So that is an awesome analogy, man. So yeah, I guess like that would be a good part. Let's switch it up to the delegation part. I know a lot of our
Mm,
listeners in their production season now, maybe they rolled up their sleeves, they're painting or
sure.
throwing a hammer around
Mm-hmm.
their like remodels. So yeah, when it came to like delegation, I feel like you did a really really great job in your business. So why don't you share a little bit
Mm-hmm.
about your experience around that and why it was so important to not be on the tools?
Yeah, I'm the delegation king for sure. Ran a I've ran a painting company probably for 4 or 5 years, and secret between the listeners and us, Jimmy, I've never painted a room in my life, and I promise, guys, I never will. I never will. Screw that. My time is way more valuable than painting a room, and pulling levers to scale my business doesn't include me painting a room. It just doesn't include me painting a room. It's a pretty open-ended question. that you're asking in terms of delegation, but it's like I just made sure that whenever there was something that I didn't want to be doing or isn't moving the needle in terms of raising revenue or generating revenue, then I'm not doing it. I mean, and it's just as simple as that. So, like painting company specific, any sort of painting, no. And
Mhm.
it's like, okay, so what sort of mechanisms can you put in place to make sure that you're not doing the painting? It's like, well, you need to be hiring ahead of time. Fantastic. But you know what I would do? I would go to the job site in really nice clothes. I actually took that one from Mr. Joe Kim.
Nice.
Joe
Shout out.
Kim, yeah, shout out to Mr. Joe Kim because he would always show up to the job site with really, he's like, oh, I can't touch the brush. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, and you know, even funnier story uh here, I painted for Mr. Joe Kim for 3 days. I hated it. I was like,
Mhm.
this sucks. I'm like, I don't want to be doing this. And and that's when I realized it's like, oh, I don't even when I go to run my own company, I don't have to be doing this. Right. So it's like just making myself not available
Mhm.
to be painting was so huge because it's kind of like the whole atomic habits thing where it's like if you want to stop smoking your cigarettes, not that I smoke cigarettes, but for people that do, if you want to stop smoking your cigarettes, well, maybe don't have the pack laying around. And if you don't have that visual cue or you're just not able to, you might stop smoking.
Bingo. Great analogy. Like the especially yeah, shout out Joe because the I took that from him too. Wearing nice clothes like your khakis, your
Mm-hmm.
polo. Funny story. Actually, I was visiting a job site once and I accidentally smeared paint on my nice white polo and I was like,
Yep.
oh, fair enough, but
Yep.
still did its job and it happens. But I guess like in terms of the people that are hearing this, one of the things I heard was if I'm painting, I'm taking, hours away from my painters or I'm not out there, really bringing on jobs. So how did that kind of come up in your business when you're like for those people that are like maybe they disagree. They're like, "No, I need to be out there with my painters to make sure they see like that I can be there to do it too."
Yeah, to those people, I'd say go ahead. I say go ahead, keep on painting that wall. But then when you start to feel the pressure of running out of work, and then all the people that you hire that are relying on you in order to pay their bills, their car payment, their mortgage, their kids' sports, whatever, when you start to feel the pressure of not having enough work on them, just know who's to blame. Sincerely, that was you because you decided you want to take the short term of making what 10% more profit on your job
Mhm.
rather than the long term of being able to scale your company because you're focusing on the things that are actually generating you more revenue.
Mhm.
And you're just going to be the one to blame. And that's okay because some people, decide that's fine. And for some people that works for them. And for some people, they actually want that. And that's totally okay, even too. But if your goal is to scale the company, but your actions are working in the company, then they do not coincide with each other.
Nice. Love it. Yeah, and I think one of the things that we always come back to is always expectation setting. I think we almost said it
Mm-hmm.
in almost every other video because it's just so important in terms of like how did you set the expectations with like your painters, your project managers, and
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that hey, I'm not picking up a brush and really being able to delegate that with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly as you kind of say. It's like for painters, I've had like maybe two times where like maybe a painter will give me a little bit of attitude, and I'll be like, "Hey, you got to do it this way." They're like, "Okay, well, then like why don't you do it?" And all you got to do is you just got to look at them, and then you just walk away. They'll look at the message every single time. So yeah, I'm totally gonna do that for you, double time now. But um, even like it's not even about I think the painters even too, especially if you're in the position where you have a project manager, because realistically I don't really talk to the painters because the less I speak to the painters, the more value my word has when I go to actually speak to them. If Josh has spoken to me 6 times,
Hmm.
in like the past month, and like three of those is to bring me coffee. First of all, I'm in good graces. I'm bearing gifts.
Yeah.
And second of all, when I tell you you're being kind of sloppy. I just need you to pick it up and just identify where we can increase quality here. It's like, okay, that's serious. So most of the time when I'm trying to relay anything, I'm relaying it to the project manager, because also I want the project manager to get better
Mhm.
at sending orders out, right? And when they have a problem, if I keep on going to go tell them what to do, they just go up the food chain and just give me a call.
Mhm.
And every single time I get a call from my painters, what's up? And they're like, oh, like I was just not sure what to do. I'm like, okay, is Braylon there? Braylon was my PM. Is Bray Bray there? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, go ask her because she'll know, right? And it's always just sending it one down the ladder if in the event that it happens, because it's like I'm not that guy for you, and it also makes them feel like I'm doing bigger picture things because I'm not involved in day to day.
Love it. Yeah, I love that because if you really let them know that, and you're answering every question, you're helping them out all the time. Sounds like then they would just always come to you, and you become this glorified fire. You're putting out fires essentially. You're just a firefighter.
Totally.
Wow.
And one more thing to add on that too. I hated, I hated when our coach, Mr. Luke Fenn, would go, I go, yo, Luke, what do I do in this particular instance? And he hits me with the, well, what do you think I should do? God damn it. If I knew what I should do, I would ask you. However, it's an amazing learning lesson.
Mhm.
And I didn't realize it at the time, no matter my feelings towards it, but it's exactly what we would implement in our business. It would be my project manager giving me a call, not sure what to do in this particular case, Josh. What should we do? Okay. What do you think you should do? Oh, well, I think we should do this. Sounds great. But it's like now the line of thinking isn't, oh, I don't know what to do, I should call Josh.
Mhm.
The line of thinking is, oh, if I call Josh, he's just going to ask me what I think I should do. And I guess what I think I should do is this. So I'm just not even going to call. It's like, bingo.
Nice. That's how you know you have great leaders in your business because they know they can problem solve. And it's so good for them to learn how to problem solve just for the
Yep,
long run, right?
for sure.
I remember I got to the point where Luke was also my coach, and I remember calling him once, and I caught myself. I'm like, "Hey, Luke, like, I got this issue. You're gonna ask me what do I think? Here's what I think. So I'm gonna go do that. All right, perfect, thank you," and just left it because I just caught myself like in the middle of the call. But it was like that's how you know you have a good, uh, you know, leader in your business. So that's
Hmm.
awesome.
Well, it's
Um,
also just teaching critical thinking, right? Because it's like, I don't necessarily need to teach you what to think. I just need to teach you how to think, because I don't need you to have the answer before you think. I just need you to get the answer after you think.
100%. I love it. What's the, I guess, like for anybody listening out there for any marketing, maybe they have only one fishing pole in the pond, or even like delegation. What's the final thing you would tell those people?
The final, what do you mean? The final pull in the
Yeah, like
pond?
final thoughts in terms of marketing and delegation in someone's business who wants to like implement that but don't know where to start.
Marketing and delegation. When it comes to delegation, stop doing the things that you don't want to do. You don't have to do them. Look at your numbers and look what's happening, and find a way to pay yourself out of the problems they're experiencing that are holding yourself back from what you ultimately want. And when it comes to marketing, if you know how to do good marketing, fantastic, do it. If you don't know how to do good marketing, find somebody that knows how to do good marketing. It's the same with your sales. If you're not the best salesperson in the world, go find the most charismatic person you can find and say, hey, want a job. It's the same sort of deal. But just make sure it works with the numbers.
Love it. Very important with the cash flow, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, other than that, it's been awesome just digging into, your painting business back in the day there. And everyone else, thank you so much for listening to another episode of our Off the Tools podcast, and we'll see you in the next.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.